Thank you for attending this DSA panel track at the National Safety Conference. These are contractors that were on site that won DSA awards. So very excited to have them here to talk to us and give us their perspective. My name is James Upton. I work for Ergon Inc. I'm the Corporate Health and Safety Manager, and I'll be moderating this talk today. With us, we have Jimmy LaBouffe and Daniel Jenkins. But before we get into introductions and questions, just a few housekeeping issues. Please remember to keep your microphone muted during the call. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the chat. We'll be monitoring the chat and we'll answer those as we go through. So without further ado here, I'll start off with you, Jimmy. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in the industry? Tell us the site that you're working on and kind of what you do for your site.
Okay, my name is Jimmy LaBouffe. I'm with Turner Industries Group. I've been in the industries for 33 years. I'm the site manager here. And to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm married 31 years to my wife. Her name is Jimmy also, Catherine. And I have 4 kids, 3 boys and a daughter. I have my oldest boy is a real estate agent. My second son's in the military. And my third son is going to McNeese State University, where me and my wife both went. And my daughter's in high school. She's in 11th grade. And I love to hunt and fish and hang out with my family.
Can you tell us about how you got started in the industry?
I started in the industry in 1988. I was in a fab shop as a welder's helper is where I started at with PSI. Actually, in 1988, we got the contract at Phillips 66 in the coker unit. We was there for probably about 8 months, and that's where I actually started. My first job in the industry was at this refinery where I'm at now. So it's kind of pretty cool, kind of in the circle. Yeah. I'm getting close to retirement here in the next 10 years, so I hope to finish here.
That's pretty cool. All right, Daniel, same question, just tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the industry, what you do there for your site and the site that you work on.
So Daniel Jenkins, I'm the site supervisor for petroleum service here at Exxon BRPO. Been in the industry about 22 years, and I've been with petroleum service for 20. I've been at BRPO my entire career. Married, have 3 boys, all still in high school.
What do you like to do with your money? You got to work for something. What do you do? What do you do in your free time?
Oh, well, we like to camp and of course hunt and fish.
Yeah. So it sounds like we've got, about a half a century of experience between the two of you guys, and some really good hands-on experience as well. So that's really great. I'll start off with the first question with you, Daniel. And what I want to ask you is, what is the one thing that stands out to you working on one of the safest sites in the industry? Your site won the DSA award, which is very distinguished. What's one of the things that stands out to you working on that site?
For me, I mean, it's a sense of pride from all the employees, not just the contractors, that we can say that we have one of the safest sites out there, and actually come to a safe place to work every day. I mean, no matter if you're a contractor or an actual site employee, we all get treated the same.
Yeah, that's kind of been a common theme with the DSA winners. They seem to all have that in common. So Jimmy, same question to you. What's one of the things that stands out to you working on one of the safest sites in the industry?
Man, this is actually it's a great honor to be here to get this. This is a big honor in the industry, which I do know that. At this site, when I come in 6 years ago, this is my 3rd site manager's job that I've had. And let me tell you, they walk the walk and talk the talk on safety. They make you feel like you're one of the team. If you have problems, you can go to them. All the RLT members, the upper management, our co-op that we're part of is man, let me tell you, they're engaged all the way from the plant manager, maintenance manager, operations, safety and health manager, and it's an open door policy here. They're engaged, and you can go all the way down to the maintenance supervisors that I work for and superintendents, that it goes a long way, I'm telling you, in this industry.
Yeah.
Because where I started from, we didn't even have the JSA process in place. And it's come that far after 33 years. So just to let you know.
Yeah, that was actually going to be a question I had for you is, you have a unique perspective. You just said that you started off your career essentially at that site, and now you've come almost full circle. What's one of the unique things, like you said, JSA, you didn't do a JSA perhaps back then, and now you do. What's one of those unique changes that you've seen over time?
I can remember back in the day when we started the process of the JSA, I was probably then was a foreman when it come out at a few other sites. It was writing on paper. Now, through the industry over the years, it has come into, like our COO, David Franks with Turner says, that piece of paper won't save your life, but it's what you put into it. When you're mitigating your hazards, you're mitigating, you walking the job steps, you're putting everything on paper, but you got to follow it through to actually do the work to keep you safe. And I'm telling you, it works. It's a process, but in the industry from where I come from, where we're at today, it works. It's a tool. Like I said, our COO says it'll save your life if you do it correctly.
I think that's a big push in the industry and across safety, is to try to do quality activities instead of just the quantity. So not just walking through the steps, but actually doing some quality JSA activities. Hey, Daniel, same with you. What's a unique perspective, something that maybe you've seen change over the years. You've been in the game for quite a while. What's the biggest change you've seen?
Yeah, so for here at this site, they've changed the safety programs every so often, but the one we have in place now puts a lot more responsibility on the person to actually do the steps and follow the process from start to finish. And it puts the managers and supervisors just out there asking questions and verifying that they actually know what they're doing and they're doing it the way they're supposed to do it. So that's a big one. Because if nobody's going out there watching you do it, you're just going to do what you result. You're going to go back to your old habits. So as long as you have somebody checking up on you and coaching you and mentoring you and pushing you in the right direction, you're going to be going there. And that's what we do here.
Yeah. So the next question is, winning a distinguished safety award is a very intentional achievement. Part of that is hiring good, safe contractors to partner with, like you guys. What is the one thing that your company does that makes you look attractive to a site invested in a strong safety performance? What's maybe some advice to some other contractors that you can say, that what's some things that you do that maybe they should be doing also? And I'll start with you, Daniel.
For us, we have a really good training program. It starts with our training, and we build off of that, and we have a really strong observation program that we use that drives safety in more than just corrective behaviors. We're trying to solve stuff, figure out the why people are doing the behaviors that they're doing, and that's where our observation program comes in and helps us get to where we want to be.
Can you talk a little bit about your observation program? What does that look like? Is it a behavior-based safety program?
So it is a behavior-based program. All of our supervisors do it, and the guys in the field. It's electronic, so we fill it out, and then it populates into a big database and it can sort out who was the observer, who got observed, what the corrective actions were, and we can kind of populate and see where our trends are, and we can address those in our safety meetings and our quarterlies and stuff like that.
Just off the top of your head, what's kind of something that's trending on right now that you guys are working on?
Right now for us is communication. Being we switch a lot of we switch rail cars all day, every day. Communication is one of the things that we have that is, because it's hot, the guys are wanting to hurry up, so their communication's getting a little lax. So we have to keep driving that behavior.
Well, Jimmy, same question for you. You know, what's one thing that you do that makes you attractive to the site you work for, and maybe something that other contractors can be doing? Daniel said they're doing their observation program. Is there anything specific or special that you guys do?
Yeah, out here, we have our, through our co-op, our SOR program, or SOAR program, we call it. It's observations that we do on a daily basis. Also, Turner, as my guys, we do 2 audits a week, and we come back and we meet on Wednesdays for about 35 to 40 minutes. We find all of our deficiencies that we find that week, and we bring it out. We got to get it down to the hands, the lower level, so that way they know the deficiency. So we have this on Wednesdays, our meetings with our supervisor foremen. Then we take that, they do a tailgate meeting the next morning on Thursdays and go over all the deficiencies that we're having. Our trend out here, what we've been having is also, it's been property damage. We've been having a lot of property damage, so we're working on that. We've actually did a CBT training that we're putting in place right now, that we're having almost everyone on site take this. And it's for the industry. It's not for, you know, driving on the road. It pertains to what we do in the refineries or in the chemical industry. That being said, but to make the client want you to come back, we just signed a new contract here for another 3 to 5 years. We've had this contract since 2005. I've got a lot of long-term employees here. So we use the mentoring program whenever you go out and get new hires in and put them out on the job. Well, we put them with seasoned people. We don't just stick them out on their own. And, you know, your boilermakers, welders, fitters, you're leaving to your laborers. We put them out with the seasoned people to train them our way on this site also.
Nice. Yeah, I like that mentoring program that you're talking about. One follow-up question is, you know, you're doing these meetings weekly. I'm just curious, how do you kind of keep that fresh and engaging and useful as you kind of go on and you're doing it? What are some of the things you do to keep it fresh?
I'll tell you some of the things we do. We got Jerry Lemons, which is a Phillips safety contract coordinator out here. He actually comes to some of our meetings on Wednesday and sees what we're doing. And we invited some of the RLT have come to our meetings to show that they have the support from the Phillips side also to engage and add opportunities and stuff that help our guys in the field.
That's good. That's good. One of the things we hear from contractors is that they wish we could all be doing things consistently between operators. If you had to prioritize things you wish were the same no matter where you go, what would the most important thing be and why? And I'll just stay with you, Jimmy.
Okay, out here at our site, one of the main things being consistent with units, as we got groups that work in every unit out here, is whenever we go and have a job plan and is a joint job walkthrough. We do it with operations. I tell my people, if you don't do it with them, don't accept the job. I mean, you got to be consistent on that. And every unit out here, it has been a big push over the last 4 or 5 years here with that. And it really works well. I mean, you're touching the job with operations, making sure it's lottoed out right. I mean, we're all humans. We all know that we make mistakes, but there's always an extra set of eyes that can help you catch some of the things. And that's what makes our site safe.
Yeah. You said something there that I just want to touch on, and you said that we're all humans and we all make mistakes. What does it look like to make a mistake on your site? You know, how does that go down if there's a mistake that's made? Kind of what's the response look like?
Well, I'll tell you what, we got the backing from the safety department, from our maintenance manager here. Whenever we have a mistake, hey, we want to find out the why, what took place, what went wrong. I mean, to keep it from happening again. We've had a few over the last few years, things that's happened. You get down into the cause mapping that Phillips does, that I've been on some of the cause mapping teams, and it really helps you understand. It gets down to the behavior of what took place on that job and the why.
Yeah, good. Daniel, same question also. What's one thing that you wish was consistent across sites? And I know you said you've worked at the same site, but what kind of perspective do you have on that question?
So for me, I would say that, you know, training would be one of those big things that you want to be consistent on, because I mean, for my company, we're logistics. So we switch rail cars, we tankerman, we do those types of jobs. So if I have employees from my site that need to go fill in at another location, if we don't switch the same as far as our communication and just the way we operate, we run the potential to do something unsafe. So if we're all consistent, then everybody's going to go home the same at the end of the day. And we're pretty good. We're good at it. We have a really good safety video that we go through with our training on switching, a lot of hands-on fundamentals training to make everybody the same. It's just making sure that everybody's following it and staying up to date on it.
So your training, it sounds like it's got multiple components to it. It's got some hands-on and some computer-based training, and
right,
instructor-led training as well. So do you find that having that mixed multiple media type of training to be the best approach to getting consistency and getting everybody on board with what they need to do?
It does, and it's all based on the trainer, because for us, we're growing. Our company's growing pretty fast, so we're getting a lot of newer trainers. But if you have a trainer who has been in the industry for a while, they can go through the video and talk through it in the classroom, but then they can actually go outside and do that hands-on with the guys in the field and give them that practical knowledge that that they really need to understand it and know that what they're doing is they're doing correctly.
Jimmy, what's your guys' training look like? Is it similar? Do you guys do a mixed approach? And what do you think about your training? I mean, how do you drive consistency in training on your sites?
We do a training every week, fall protection, lotto. I mean, we got a whole year program that goes from one. I mean, it's got whole watch, fire watch tasks. I mean, it's a training that we do every week for 52 weeks every year. But also when we go back to the co-op, whenever we hire an employee, we do a lotto training out here. And actually, it's a live lotto that we built a skid that we put on. And once they go through the class, they got to go out and do the hands-on, like the practicals, what Daniel's talking about. So we go through the whole lotto system. It's all of our trainings uploaded and mitigated in our system, and the training that we do that for Phillips that we upload it to also in their system. And the hands-on stuff is the biggest stuff that you can do as far as getting the people engaged in their mind and actually being able to. You got young guys that's never been in the refinery or industry coming in, and you want to train them right. And that's something that our Contractors Co-op offers. And also it offers, as you're bringing people up through their careers, and it's got our co-op has a supervisor leadership training class, which is the Phillips folks, my safety manager is part of it, the RLT members, the Ron Towers, the Paula Fleurs, the Jim Barnes, operations manager, they all speak at this supervisor leadership training, which it's all in the engagement.
Yeah, no, it sounds like there's a lot of engagement going on, especially from the refinery leadership to kind of move you guys along. Hey, I'm just going to pause for 1 second and just kind of poke the audience just for a minute. If there's any questions you guys want to ask, go ahead and put those in the chat, and I'll move towards answering those. I have a few more questions for the guys, but if you have anything that's that you're holding back, just go ahead and put that in there. While they're kind of typing up some questions, perhaps I'll move to you again, Daniel. And your site's application talked about how contractor safety performance is driven through a buddy manager system. Can you give me your perspective on how this system works and some of the benefits you see in doing it?
So the buddy manager system is every area is assigned a buddy manager. Ours is actually the operations manager for the site. So basically every quarter they have an agenda on some set items that have to be done. They'll come out once a month and then do a field walk with us, just to verify some of that stuff's been addressed and everything's done the way it's supposed to be. And it gets them out in the field so they can have some face time with the employees actually out in the field doing the work. And it creates that kind of like a real sense of we're equal right here, because it's, like I said, it's an open door, so everybody can just communicate freely. There's nothing holding them back from asking questions. The guys in the field ask the buddy manager whatever they want to, and they answer freely, and it's vice versa. So it's a really good system, and I think it's beneficial for the manager to come out and talk with the guys in the field, and it's good for the guys to actually talk with the buddy manager.
What kind of materials are you giving your leaders to kind of show them what good looks like? Is there a certain kind of training they go through to before they go through this process?
Yeah, I mean, we have expectations that we go over and reviewed stuff with them every month.
Okay, good. Hey, Christian had a really good question here that I'm gonna go ahead and ask. I'll ask you first, Jimmy. In what ways do you feel you have ownership in the site you work at? It's a really good question.
What ways I feel that I have ownership in the site?
Yeah, I'll say it again. In what ways do you feel you have ownership in the site you work at?
Oh, okay. The site here?
Yeah.
I mean, I have ownership. There's an open door policy all the way from the plant manager, Joe Lee, down. If we have a problem, we've had issues. Paula Fleur, maintenance manager, you can walk in his office and talk to him. It makes me feel part of the team. Makes you feel like you're part of the Phillips 66. I mean, there's no lines in the sand is the way I look at it here. I've been here 6 years, and it's been a great 6 years for me working with the client. I mean, we all have our own little issues, but it's always been open.
Yeah. And Christian had another question, kind of a follow-up, and I'll give this one to you, Daniel. In what ways are you able to provide feedback to the site for potential hazards in the field identified by your workforce? So how are you getting that information at the field level, and then how does it work its way back up, and then perhaps how does it work its way back down as you solve the problem?
So for here at the site, if we have a hazard, we'll bring it up to the safety department. I'll personally put in a work notification to have the hazard corrected. I work with the maintenance department and the safety department hand in hand till we mitigate the situation and get it back to the way it should be, to a safe state. And then we push that through the guys by relaying it to them through the safety meetings that we have daily, just keeping them up to date on what's going on and how the mitigations progresses.
Okay. And I'm going to stick with you, Jimmy, for this question here. The last year and a half has no doubt been a roller coaster for all of us with COVID, and even this week, it's been a big change. Lake Charles was hit hard, not with just the global pandemic, but also a devastating hurricane that impacted your site heavily. What were some of the challenges you faced with all the distractions and keeping people safe during that time?
Okay, the hurricane come through on a Wednesday evening, Thursday. I was on the assessment team. We come back Friday. There was this a group of us, which was head safety, Ron Towers, and Paula Fleur, maintenance manager, and Sean Smith, which was the operations manager at that time. And we met in the little safety room. We had no power, no nothing, no. I mean, the plant was destroyed. So we started, hey, how we going to start calling in people on Saturday and permitting, and hey, we took a stand. We went back. We was doing electronic permitting. We went back to the paper. It doesn't matter what task you do. We went back to writing permits on the permit paper. The JSA, that we never stopped any of the process of the jobs or anything that we were doing. It went right back to handwriting them. I mean, I said the plant was dead. I mean, no power, no nothing. And it was a process, but hey, as we started bringing in, by the end of the first week, we probably had 150 people here cleaning up the plant so we can get it back, start getting it back up in operation. You know, it took us a month and a half to get power, you know, because all the substations were damaged and tore up, and it was a lot of stuff. But we held to our guns. We held to our guns, and we weren't going to stop the process of what we do today on safety. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, during that time we didn't have one issue of all the metal hanging off of towers. We took our time. We brought it down. Piping that was blown out. Hey, we just did the process that we do every day here. The safety, it's held to a higher standard. Like I said, this is my third site manager's job, and they walk the walk and talk the talk, period.
So that first day that you come back and you realize that all the technology that you once depended on is gone. You had to go back to paper. What were some of your initial fears that did you have any sense of fear that, hey man, they're not going to be able to do this, they're not going to be able to go backwards? Or how did that transpire? You know, because we get really used to, I have my phone all the time, I have this technology all the time. How were you able just to jump back to paper and keep it all straight?
Man, we set up in the safety bay. They had operators in there, and we started that process with operations there, with safety there, and our contractors and our Phillips fitters and everybody. And every morning that's where we would meet, and we would come back. Hey, on the assessment team, would have duties every day that they would, hey, we're going after this, and this. We're going to go work in the crew unit today. We got They got asbestos everywhere. We barricaded the area off. They had asbestos people come in, start cleaning up, and we assisted them in hauling it and dumping it in dumpsters. It was this slow process starting, but it was nothing than a normal day that we do, day to day, that when the refinery is running.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys had a good standard to start off with, and it, you know, whenever this happened, you weren't willing to compromise your safety or standards. So that's a testament to why you guys are one of the safest sites in the industry, for sure. Daniel, what kind of in that same vein, with all the distractions that are going on in the last year and a half, and the kind of slight increase across the industry that we've seen in injuries, what are you guys doing, and what are you doing to keep your workforce engaged and to kind of help filter out some of these distractions?
I mean, we have our daily tailgate meetings every morning and every night, evening, where, you know, the leadership goes in and we sit in with the guys and talk to them, and you know, we keep it real with them. We ask them, you know, what's on their minds, where their concerns are, and we just try to address their concerns that they have right then. And then throughout the shift and throughout the day, you know, we go out and, you know, check on them out in the field, and just do we spend a lot of time in the field checking on the guys, and then just making sure that they're engaged. And if we see them doing something they're not supposed to be doing or shouldn't be doing it a certain way, you know, we interject and, you know, and just talk to them, take 5 minutes to drink some water and talk to them and see where their heads are at, and then get them back focused and going in the right direction.
Good. So I got another question here through the chat, and it says, how do you get your new and short-term workers to understand how important safety is? And then how long does it usually take for them to learn and follow this part of your culture? And I'll stick with you, Daniel, on that one. I think you talked a little bit about a mentorship program. Can you talk to that a little bit more?
Yeah, so for us here at our site, our short term workers, we call them short service workers. We actually bring them in and have them in a different colored hard hat. So they come in with a yellow hard hat. That way everybody can identify them as being a short service worker. And then once they come on site, we assign them a mentor, someone who's been on site for a while, who's trained and qualified. We put them with that mentor, and we let them follow the mentor, and he goes through all the procedures, all the safety culture, and goes through that with them. And then after about 90 days, we'll sit down with them, we'll talk with them, and then we'll give them a little test to see if they can pass, if they know all of the stuff that we expect them to know at that point. And then if we feel that they're at a point where they can be by themselves, we'll graduate them out of the short service worker program, and then put them into just a regular colored hard hat to where they can operate by themselves.
So do you ever run into situations where they're not ready to go on to the next stage?
We have had some people who've had to go longer than 90 days. And we have had some people who come in, and no matter how long you put them in there, they still wouldn't make it. We've had to get rid of them, but more often than not, it's usually 90 days. They can come out.
Okay. Yeah. So same question over to you again, Jimmy. How do you guys handle your short-term workers, and how do you relay to them how important safety is, and usually how long does that process take for you guys?
That process is it's a journey. It never stops. I mean, we bring people in, just like we said, like Daniel uses, we use the mixed crew. We put them with seasoned people. We hire up for turnarounds. We'll hire 100 people and that's mixing them with our older guys and our mentoring them. It's a never ending challenge, but whenever we bring them in to this site, we do a one-on-one, we call it, with them. I do it, my superintendents do it, to see where their head's at, and we set expectations in the beginning. We got expectations that we have for this site that we set, and we go through them with them, and then we put them out in the field, and it seems to work. I mean, you always have a bad eye. We get rid of, we cull some. They just ain't gonna work out. And that happens in the industry. One of the other things we do, we empower our people to use the stop work authority. I mean, if it don't smell right, don't look right, don't feel right, just stop. We empower them. We've used it a lot out here. Just get other people involved. It helps. And through the co-op, we do a lot of awards for them. If they find stuff, we got the Golden Frisbee Award, we call it. That's in engaging with a Phillips person. Hey, you need a safety harness to put on before you climb up the scaffold. Oh, I didn't know. We never ever have any rough, or it's all about engagement in the people in the field, empowering them. Hey, if we're doing jobs and it don't feel right, stop. We use it every day. I mean, it happens a couple of times a week. Hey, this job's not looking right. You know, we got to stop it. Get other people involved, get engineers involved, and tell us what we're going to do.
Yeah,
help us out.
Yeah. So Daniel, Jimmy just talked a little bit about stop work authority and empowerment, and I was fortunate enough to sit on the committee that read through all the DSA applications and helped select them. And that was a common thread that ran through all the applications is stop work authority and the empowerment of the workforce. Can you talk a little bit about how you empower your workforce to use stop work authority?
Yeah, so I mean, we use stop work authority when guys come in, when they hire in, we actually give them a stop work authority card to keep on them. And we tell them all the time, like Jimmy said, if it doesn't look right, smell right, it's not probably right. So just pull your card and then, get people involved and we can talk about it, see what we got to do to address it and get it right. Because we don't want to get nobody hurt and we don't want to push anybody to do something that they're not comfortable to do. So, we encourage them to pull that card when they feel they need to. And I mean, sometimes they may pull it and we can mitigate the hazard just by having a conversation. And then sometimes, we got to take it to the next level and get engineering involved to fix something, or, have mechanics come and repair something before they can proceed on. But, we encourage them to pull that card anytime they feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's good. One last question. So again, another common thread that ran through a lot of the applications, and something that AFPM has been working on a lot, is the incident classification matrix, and trying to look at not just the actual but also the potential of incidents. Can you talk me through how you respond to an incident that didn't have an actual outcome, but that did have a high potential outcome, so a high potential near miss? How do you guys handle those on your site? And I'll start with you, Daniel, then I'll finish up with Jimmy on that one.
So we treat all near misses or incidents the same because they're all, a near miss, you have to learn from it to know how to prevent it from happening again. So we go through the full investigation, asking the questions, the who's, the what's, the why's, and to try to figure out what the actual root cause of it was. And then once we figure that out, then we figure out, all right, what's our solution going to be going forward to prevent it from happening again.
Who do you pull in on those investigations?
So a lot of times it'll be leadership. We'll get guys from the field, from the actual work group, and we even get our Exxon contacts in to sit in with us and come up with stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So same to you, Daniel. You know, how does your company respond to, you know, potential near misses or near misses that have a high potential? How do you guys learn through that? And what does that look like?
Well, we call it, whenever we do an investigation on any near miss that's high, you know, that could happen, we use a AAR, after action review. Actually, it gets everybody involved. It from the craftsman that was on that, in that situation, he's part of that team. Whenever we start doing the investigation, it's management, safety, and then the craftspeople. So, and then we end up coming up with a solution and move forward. But then during that process, we'll put it together, the AAR. We actually present a lot of that we present it to Phillips. Once we come up with our solution, Phillips will actually do a safety flash on it and send it out to the whole refinery, to every employee. And then once a month on Wednesdays, we do a gate handout through the co-op, and we'll hand out the safety flash also to every employee. That's how we do it, even on incidents.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask the audience just one more time, if they're holding on to any questions, to go ahead and put those in the chat. And we'll ask those. We'll finish up. If there's anybody else that wants to ask a question, now is a good time to put that in there before we wrap up. So while we're waiting a little bit, I just want to thank you, Daniel and Jimmy, both for agreeing to talk to us today. We know you guys are busy and it takes time out of your schedule to come and speak with us, but you guys are doing a great job. Congratulations for working and being a part of one of the safest sites in the industry. It's a really great accomplishment. So thank you for that. And without seeing any other comments or questions in the chat room, thank you everybody for getting on and for the questions that were asked. And we appreciate your time.
Thank you, James and Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you.